I think it's been about 7-8 years in the process, but we're nearly at 50% of our students working with both of us. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say probably over 50% now. And one of our big successes is Brandt Snedeker, who won a couple weeks ago at Torrey Pines, and has gone through several injuries over the years. I mean, he fell and broke his collarbone. I was working with him. He was on the nationwide tour and had just missed second stage. And,
that's amazing to think that he could possibly do that.
He never made it through Q school.
Right.
And that next year he went on the nationwide tour, won early in the year, and then that's when he fell and broke his collarbone.
Right.
And then I got you involved with him and tried to get him to do some fitness thing on his rehab.
You know, Brandt's an interesting case study from a physical perspective because, you know, through that process of being injured, he actually got better physically, which helped you, you know, work with his swing more effectively. But from that very first week I ever worked with Sneds, I told him that he had hip issues. And he's like, what are you talking about, you know? And actually he has a slight functional issue with his hips that they literally had to pull his femur out and shave his hips down in the socket, replace it. And here's a guy that was literally 10 weeks from his second hip surgery in 2 years who won on tour. But, you know, I guess that whole process of understanding, you know, what you're trying to get him to do, what the instructor's trying to do, and then physically what you can and can't do, that's probably what gives us the most joy. It's a lot of fun when you have a teammate that you're helping out.
Well, his situation with the hips, they never really rotated correctly. And so when you were working with him, I kept saying, I can't get him to load into his right hip. I can't get him to
occasionally
load into
he
his
could,
right
and then he
hip.
couldn't.
And so, you know, here's a guy who's gone through 2 surgeries in the last 2 years who's won each year. And I think his hips now function better. It was almost a surgery made him better, where a lot of players come out because of an injury or whatever. I mean, his hips function better now than they did before he got hurt.
Well, because he has more speed in his hips, and all along he's been very diligent about doing his upper body. I mean, his whole body's changed, including his nutrition, which is pretty amazing to see, you know, where they're at. You know, the off season we try to get him to a fighting weight that we feel comfortable with. We give them a goal from a body fat perspective, which is going to help them have better endurance. And then we check them, and it's almost like you know, they are inspired once you tell them what to do.